ॐ वाङ् मे मनसि प्रतिष्ठिता मनो मे वाचि प्रतिष्ठितम् आविराविर्मयेधि वेदस्य आणीस्तः श्रुतं मे मा प्रहासि अनेनाधीतेनाहोरात्रान् सन्दधामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्भक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु भक्तारमवतु भक्तारम्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ। Om. May my speech be accorded with the mind. May my mind be accorded with the speech. O self-effulgent one Brahman, reveal thyself to me. May you both speech and mind be the carriers of the highest truth to me. May not all that I have heard depart from me. May I be able to join day and night through this study with Brahman. I shall utter what is verbally true. I shall utter what is mentally true. May that Brahman protect me. May that Brahman protect the teacher. May that protect me. May that protect the teacher. Om, peace, peace. Peace be unto you all. Good morning. This morning I am going to speak a very important subject. I spoke on it in my previous lectures, but still it is very, very important in our individual life and obviously in collective life, in both spiritual aspect and social aspect. The theme of this talk is ego and egoism. In Indian philosophy, not much discussion have been made in the scripture on egoism, because according to Indian philosophy, ego is the primordial entity which is there starting from the creation. We know one of the very important characteristics of Vedanta or Indian philosophy is this: the microcosm and macrocosm are built on the same plane and they are connected, and dynamically they are connected. So the cosmos and an individual, microcosm and the macrocosm, the cosmos, the structure, the function are same, and they are connected. Individual and the cosmos is connected in a dynamic way. So the point is this: everything is under the umbrella of dharma, the righteousness. So separately in Indian philosophy, we do not find discussions on ego and egoism. But aham, that component is always there from the creation. So it is inbuilt, the primordial nature of human being. Let us discuss this ego. What is ego? And then we shall switch over to egoism. These are very important part in our spiritual life. The spiritual life means the spirit. Everything is within. So unless we can understand in depth the functionality and the characteristics of our within, our body, our mind, our willpower, our psychology, unless we can understand it, it is very difficult to elevate ourselves in spirituality. Because spirit is our own core entity. So we have to understand that spirit which is within us. And the way of understanding it is spirituality. Let us start from a verse from Bhagavad Gita, that is chapter 6, verse number 5 and 6. In this verse, Sri Krishna is explaining that uddharetat manatmanam natmanam abusadayet atmuibo hi atmana bandhu atmaibo ripu atmanaha. Beautiful verse. It is well-known verse and we know it. It says uddharetat manatmanam. Uddhara. Uddhara means it will take us further. It means uddhara. Take out of any kind of danger, take out of our problems. That is called uddhara. So it can uddhara, our Atman can take us further. Atmanam natmanam abusahayat. Again it is Atma which is the cause of our abusadayat, our tamas, our laziness. So Atman can take us further, and it is Atman that is the cause of our laziness, our dizziness, our non-work. The next line it is said, Atmaibo hi atmano bandhu. Bandhu means friend. So Atmana, he is the emphatic word. Atman is, Atman too, Atman only is our friend. And Atmaibo, Ripur Atmana. Ripu means enemy. So Atman is our friend. At the same time, Atman is our enemy. So we can get rid of our bondage, our suffering by Atman. And again, we are bound by Atman. Atman is our friend and Atman is only our enemy. This is the meaning, actually, it is said. So from this verse, it is clear, actually this verse has been explained, analyzed and commented on various ways. But Shankaracharya, he commented on this verse in this way, that there are two kinds of selves, as it were. one is good, one is our friend, and one is our enemy. So two types of selves we have. Then again, if you go through Sri Ramakrishna's statement in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, Sri Ramakrishna says that there are two eyes in us. One is a ripe eye, which is good eye, and another is the tender eye, which is not good. So, Sri Ramakrishna said, that means there are two eyes within us. One is good, one is bad. German philosopher Fichte, when his son uttered the pronoun I, he was so happy that he threw a big party. Why? Because he understood that his son developed the I awareness. A small boy whose name is Ramu, because everybody calls him Ramu, So Ramu also said that, Ramu ate this. Ramu is doing this. Because he could not understand that everybody calls him Ramu, so he also calls himself Ramu. He thought that Ramu is his name, and he also calls himself Ramu. But when he grows slowly, he says that, I. This I is the awareness. I is the name, the pronoun. I is the pronoun for a Ramu. Ramu is the noun, so I is the pronoun for Ramu. And when we call ourselves I, that means there is an entity, there is a being, we know it, and we are addressing that entity, I. What is that entity to which we are addressing I? That is our awareness. When people call us by name, they have their own understanding about ourselves. But when we call ourselves I, we have another kind of awareness about ourselves. We know our existence. We are aware of our existence. And we are aware of our core entity. We know that there is some existence, some awareness, which I called I. So this awareness is called ego. We know when Ramu is calling himself Ramu, it is very clear that he has not developed his I awareness. His ego is there, but it has not developed. When we are born, at the same moment, our ego is born. So, a baby, when it is born, immediate, it cries out. What does it mean? Because it gives us this message that I am here. I am an entity, an individual. It doesn't develop this I awareness, but the ego is there, is individuality, expression gives that sign that I am here, I am an entity. This is called ego. So we know that the fundamental difference between the Eastern and Western philosophy is this. Eastern philosophy believes that human personality is trichotomy: body, mind, and beyond body mind there is a self, which is called Atman. But Western philosophy, body and mind, higher mind, lower mind, but everything is mind. According to Indian philosophy, this Atman is completely self-effulgent. It doesn't depend on anything. It is absolute, all-pervading, untouched by everything. It needs some medium to express itself. It's just like a electric current, Electricity, it cannot express itself. It needs a wire to go from one place to another place. It needs some kind of fittings to express itself. It needs some bulb, red, white, blue, whatever, to express itself in different forms. Exactly in the same way, to express itself, Atman, it needs some body, it needs some mind to function, it needs one ego to take the color. So, ego, there is body, mind, and Atman. So, ego's place is in between mind and Atman. If we consider in this way, for our understanding, it is not reality, for our understanding only, the light is coming out from Atman, because consciousness is the only thing which can activate our personality, our intellect, our energy, our body. As long as our consciousness is there, we are called alive. As long as the electricity is there, the light functions. Similarly, the consciousness, the light of consciousness is coming out from the Atman, and it falls on ego, and it takes some color, and then it falls on the mind. So ego activates mind, direct mind, and buddhi, the intellect. Intellect functions the discrimination, and mind is connected with our senses, and senses and limbs are functioning and interacting with the external world. So this is the way, this is the way by which our personality functions. So everybody thinks that ego is the master of our personality. Ego and Atman is so close because they are primordial. When Atman is eternal, along with the Atman, ego is always there. We cannot destroy ego. Sri Ramakrishna gave a beautiful example, that a coconut tree, when the leaves, the old leaves of coconut tree falls apart. They go from the tree, but they always keep a mark on the coconut tree. So it never, we cannot destroy our ego because it is primordial. It is always there. As long as Atman is there, it will be there. So, what we have to do in spiritual life actually, we have to understand that ego is not the prime thing. Ego is not important. It is a different entity. It is the I awareness. But beyond this I awareness, I is the name. So it is a name only, a certain awareness which can be understood by our brain and feeling and emotion. So if it is a knowledge, so as it is a knowledge, that means it is a vritti. Without vritti, vritti means knowledge. We cannot know anything without vritti. Vritti is the modification of mind. So without vritti we cannot understand anything. So this awareness is also vritti. But our self is not vritti, it is beyond vritti. It is subjective. Vritti is objective. So we cannot understand vritti, the Atman. So we have to understand that this Atman is different from ego. That is the understanding, that is the knowledge we must have. And when we have the knowledge of Atman, we are liberated, free from everything, get the final freedom. It is the Indian philosophy. So, the ego is this pure I awareness. That is called ego. I, that's all. But when the name Ramu is coming, what is happening? This I is identified with another name. So when I awareness is identified with our desire, with our likings and dislikings, with our feelings, it is called egoism. These are the derivatives of ego. There are multiple derivatives of ego. So ego is the main I awareness, the pure. But when this I awareness is identified with my, mine, it becomes egoism or egotism. So now we can easily understand that the pure I awareness ego is not actually harmful. It becomes harmful when it identifies with our desire, with our likings and dislikings, and with the external objects. It becomes egoism or egotism. So egoism or egotism is not good for us because it is not pure I awareness. It is the combination, it is allied of, it is the alloy of ego and external things and desire and senses and all other things. So, the egoism or egotism, it is the bad thing. Now let us try to understand. When the ego is attached with behavior also, it becomes egoism or egotism. Now there are various derivatives of ego. I have mentioned egoism or egotism. That is the identification of ego with our desire, with our behavior, and with the external things, etc. Now another term is there, which is called egocentricity. So what is egocentricity? Egocentricity is the function that ego plays. Let me give one example. If I criticize you right now, what will be your attitude? What is generally our attitude? Immediately, we try to defend ourselves. So, that means what? If you try to understand in this way, that criticism means our ego is threatened. So when our ego is threatened, immediately our ego tries to protect us, to defend us. This nature of individuality and asserting its power to protect us is called egocentricity. So see, ego is not always bad. It is said that do whatever you like, but please get rid of ego. But ego is not always bad. When ego is identified, because ego is the pure I awareness, how can it be bad? Electricity, how can it be bad? When electricity is identified with the wire, with the fittings and with a bulb and emanating light, which is harmful for our eyes, that is bad. So ego is not bad. When ego is identified with something, desire, other things, that is egoism, that is bad. And when ego is trying to protect our personality, defending us, that is called egocentricity. Now another derivative of ego, which is called egoity. What is egoity? The role play. Ego has multiple functions. Ego and its derivatives have multiple functions. One is egoity. What is egoity? I call myself Ramu. Okay, so I am identified with a name. Ego is identified with a name. But I am not only simple Ramu. I have other identification also in the society. What are these identifications? I am a son for some. I am a monk I am a friend, I am a citizen, I am a worker of our order. So, I have multiple role play in my life. I am not only Ramu. Along with Ramu, I am so many. So when ego, that means ego is playing different roles. Sometimes ego is friend, ego is citizen, ego is a monk, ego is a son, ego is a friend, like that. So, ego is identifying itself with different role play. As for example, monk, policeman, doctor. So when ego is not identified with these attributes, this role play, the simple Ramu or simple I, that is called ego-iti. The function of that play of ego is called ego-iti. So what are the merits and demerits of this egoism? This is the question. What are the merits and demerits of egoism, egocentricity, and ego-iti? And how can we get rid of that? Because it is not so easy. As long as we are in the society, we have to play different role. And we cannot live with our identity as I. So what is the function of it, and what are the causes of egoism or egotism? Let us consider what are the causes of egotism or egoism. The first thing, why egoism generates, it is not very bad thing to develop egoism automatically. It is a psychological function. And if you can understand the cause of egoism, you can find that it is possible. It is not a kind of weird thing. It is very logical, the development of egoism. The first thing is the struggle for existence. You know, it's a very ancient law, the struggle for existence. At that time, when Darwin developed this theory of struggle for existence, actually Darwin's focus was on the physical level. He explained the struggle for existence of physical entity. But nowadays, we have luxurious living by the development of science. The problem is here, the struggle for existence from the point of view of ego. How our ego struggles to exist, to fight with each other, because In modern society, a person's worth is judged by not what he is. Now, a person's worth is judged by what he has. How many buildings you are having? How many cars? What is your investment? So that depends. A person depends on that. So naturally in that, what you are eating in your breakfast, that is not important. But what you are offering your neighbor in a party, that is important. So, there is a kind of ego clash always to project ego, and there is a fight for existence, struggle for existence. Ego always tries to establish itself, and our society is always throwing the challenge. Sri Ramakrishna identified egoism with Maya. He says egoism is nothing but Maya. Because it doesn't, what is Maya? Maya doesn't have any existence. Swami Vivekananda said, as the definition of Maya, is statement of fact. It is fact, statement of fact. Maya doesn't have any real existence, but we cannot deny Maya. Take the example, the rainbow. Can you deny the rainbow? Because we can see rainbow. But you cannot cut rainbow and decorate your room. The mirage. You cannot deny the mirage because you see it. But you cannot take a bucket of water from the mirage. This is called Maya. What doesn't have any existence, but at the same time, as it were, that is real. So egoism doesn't have any existence because it is identified with something. But it has a strong power. Second important thing is that, so egoism triggers its power when it is threatened, when it finds the egoism is insecure. So it is the struggle for existence. Egoism pumps, we pump. When I criticize you, immediately egocentricity tries to protect you. Second is insecurity. I have already mentioned that this insecurity, when we feel we are insecure, our egoism tries to find some kind of assistance to get it secured. Third point is immaturity. So maturity is also depends upon our ego. And here we can find that unfavorable external condition alone cannot, however, explain fully this egocentric behavior. So our inner nature also it is required. Egocentricity is essentially a personal defect. It betrays person's inability to manage himself or herself properly and is therefore a sign of immaturity. If we cannot manage our ego or egoism properly, it is the immaturity. So what we call always, we must need spiritual maturity to manage ourselves. Maturity doesn't mean your experience. A person is doing some kind of work for a long time and he became expert of that work. That doesn't call maturity. Maturity is how you are looking to yourself. How are you facing the problems of life? How are you taking the decision in your life? These are the signs of maturity. And the last point is ignorance. So we are ignorant. We don't know about egoism and its function. So these are the causes of egoism or egotism, and obviously the egocentricity. Now, there are three premises of this egocentric behavior. I am focusing because it is not possible to address all the three aspects, derivatives of ego. The egoity. So I am talking only about the egocentricity. So there are three premises of egocentric behavior. The first one is a sense of inferiority. If we think that we are inferior, that is the point. Our selfishness, jealousy, hatred, anger, everything comes from a sense of inferiority. The jealous people, those who are hating others, these are nothing but inferiority complex. Why? In our unconscious, we are always comparing ourselves with others. And if we feel that we are inferior, immediately the blocking or protection mechanism pops up. Hatred, jealousy are only the counter reaction to protect us, to protect our inferiority complex. It comes from selfishness and selflessness. It is not that those who are selfish are loving them. So self-love doesn't mean selfishness. Self-love means, selfishness means we are actually hating us. We are belittling us. It means jealousy, hatred, and from there anger. The second premises is getting appreciation from others. Few people are there, they are always hanker here and there to get some kind of appreciation. And what is the result of it? When we try to get appreciation, we have to project ourselves in a decent way. And as a result, there will be tremendous alienation from our real person and the projected person. The result is huge self-alienation. And our egoism tries to project ourselves more and more to get the appreciation. See, the fun here is our egoism is always trying to help us. Egocentricity, egotism, they are always trying to help us. But these are the traps. The third premises of egocentric behavior is establishing identity and worth from others. The point is that it maintains the happiness and fulfillment belong to the person who succeeds in establishing his identity and worth before the people. We think he is the successful man. Who is the successful man? If somebody is praised by everybody, someone is praised by everybody, have money, so it is said that he is the successful man. See how successful man he is. A beautiful personality, friend with all, everything. And what happens here? If you are trying to become identified with everybody, there are two consequences. Either you have to bow down your personality, your view to the community's view and opinion. You have to sacrifice your own personality in front of the community's view. If you try to become identified, familiar, and want to seek your good name from the community, you have to sacrifice your view and your personality, number one. And the second consequence is this: we have to always praise others to make them our friend, whether you like it or not. So in both the cases, again, there is alienation. And who are doing this? Who are doing this for us? This is egoism, egotism, egocentricity. Egocentricity is doing this, all works for us. And as a result, we are alienating from our original personality. I is far away from egocentricity. So egocentricity doesn't have any concrete ground, any basis when we project ourselves. Just take the example. The rainbow doesn't have any foundation, but it is there. Mirage doesn't have any concrete foundation, but it is there. Exactly in the same way, the egocentricity doesn't have any fundamental basis, but it will be there. So this is egoism and its derivatives. Next Sunday, I will speak on self and ego. How can we separate? So there are two alienations you can find. First is alienation, means the gap between Atman and ego. And the second is ego and egoism. We have to understand these two gaps and we have to eliminate that, because our personality is not watertight compartments. Our personality is one. Do you have any question? Yes.
So it seems that ego is important to connect to the world, but also
Yes,
our
ego.
goal is to get illuminated or enlightened. And so how can you give us examples of an enlightened person who still living here, still has an ego, but no longer need the ego because non-identification?
Right. In Bhagavad Gita, gave the example of such kind of person. So there are two ways of living that life. When you are not identified with ego. Number one, through the path of bhakti, and the second is through the path of jnana. So the path of bhakti, if you are completely identified with God, you will find yourself an instrument. So what you are doing is not you are doing. You are only the instrument. The tools, the screwdriver, the wrench, how the master is operating, they work just like that. They do not have, they are untouched. The air is untouched. Only the smell, bad or good, they are carrying that, but they are not identified with that. Air is pure always. Exactly in that way, if we can completely surrender our ego at the feet of God, then we will work as a instrument. And this is called worship. Worship is not what we do ritualistically. Offer some fruits, offer some food, offer some everything. That is not the essence of worship. Worship means offering the ego at the feet of God. This is the essence of worship. Secondly, the path of jnana. Those who are following the path of jnana, they are simply the witness. They are not participating to anything else in this world. They are only watching. They are unperturbed. They are only watching. They are not identified with anything else. The matured persons, when they watch the movie, so many things are happening. They are unperturbed. But the kids, they are identified with that. They cry. They sometimes happy, they laugh. Because they are identified with the characters. So exactly in the same way, if we are not identified, only watch, it is called the witness. Shakshi attitude. This is the path of jnana. In this way, people can live without any identification with ego. But all these are about egotism and egoism. The higher ego, which is the I awareness, that can be eliminated only we have the realization of Atman. All these are about the egotism or egocentricity or egoity. Which Sri Ramakrishna says the ripe eye. Any question? Yes.
You said that egoism is Maya. Is ego also Maya? Self-identity?
No. Ego is not properly Maya because ego is the I awareness. That is real. Because this is the awareness of your existence, the Atman.
I thought I-awareness.
This is not, although this is not the final awareness, this is not the realization of Atman, but from here you can get the sense of Atman. Because your ego is not identified with any external things. Like take the example of deep sleep. Deep sleep is very closer to the self. At that time your self is manifesting because you do not have dream, you do not have anything. So you are completely blank at that time. Your mind is not working, your mind dissolved, completely your mind is dissolved at that time. So the aham, this is the pure aham, the primordial thing. So it is very close to Atman. Not Atman, but very close to Atman.
So the human birth is basically the birth of ego then?
Yeah, definitely. Because Atman consciousness cannot operate individually.
Yeah, so the functional component of Atman is basically the pure
Exactly.
And then, of course, it's derived.
Right. The I-ness. If you do not have any I-ness, identity, your existence is zero.
So then after deep sleep, the I comes back and tells itself that I had undergone a deep sleep. Then what is
Yes, that is the difference. That is the difference of samadhi and deep sleep. Because your ripe I is still there at that time. Your egoism, everything is dissolved. But the I awareness is still there. That I awareness is telling you,
your ego?
you had a good sleep. Only realization, the highest absolute realization, can eliminate that I. That is why in Indian scripture it is called in Sanskrit Tula Jnana and Mula Jnana. So this is called Tula Jnana. Tula Jnana means the minor ignorance. And the highest mul, the root ignorance, is that I awareness. Yes.
Vedanta said after deep sleep, the man remains a man.
Yeah.
After samadhi.
Yes. he actually uttered in a very strong, he used the strong words. He said that an idiot, when he gets up, he remains the same idiot. But the realized person, when he gets up, or samadhi, he will become a different person. Any question? Okay. Om sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschit dukkha bhavnuat, sarvastarotu durgani, sarvo bhadrani pashyatu, sarva sadbuddhimapnotu, sarva sarvatra nandatu, durjana sajjano bhuyat, sajjana shantimapnuat, shantamuccheti bandhebhyo, muktaschanyan vimochayet. May all be happy. May all enjoy good health. May all see happy events. May all be freed from dangers. May all realize what is good. May all be actuated by noble thoughts. May all rejoice everywhere. May the wicked become virtuous. May the virtuous attain tranquility. May the tranquil be free from bondages. May the freed make others free. May the Supreme Spirit, the presiding deity of all sacred activities, be satisfied. For he being pleased, the whole universe feels satisfied. Om, peace, peace. Peace be unto you all. Here are few announcements. So we have 24th December at 7 p.m. we will have here Christmas Eve program, and then we will have the winter recess. But on 7th January Sunday we will have the Holy Mother's 171st birth anniversary celebration here. There will be a special puja at 3 p.m. on Sunday, January 7th. You all are welcome. Thank you. As usual, tea and coffee will be served from the Saradananda Hall, which will be followed by Prasad Luncheon. You all are welcome.